The Jenn Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, is an inspirational hour that'll take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jenn Royster is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Imagine having the ability to use your innate positive energy to dissolve the stuckness in your life, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual, through this incredible dynamic show. Get ready to be transformed from Dr. Jenn's live guided healing meditations and intuitive readings, and unveil the power of connecting to spirit, the angels, and your higher self. Dr. Jenn is passionate about helping you find the answers you're looking for through an inward journey that'll strengthen your connection to spirit and help you trust your intuition. Now, here's your host, Dr. Jenn Royster.
Hello everyone, welcome to the show and Happy New Year to each and every one of you. We are back from a 2-week break, so it's really good to be back with you today. And today we're going to look at an interesting lineup for the year 2022. The outlook has a theme of healing. This is coming from my research that I did with astrology and numerology, so I'm going to share what I've discovered with that. Although we are seeing all kinds of things uplifting, changing, there's this constant state of shifting and not being sure. This is a very important year to tune inward for healing, to tune in and listen to intuition. So we're going to focus with that today. I want to share what I have discovered, because even though it looks crazy out there right now in the world, because we're still seeing some of that shift, this is coming up in everything that I discovered to be a year of healing and spiritual awakening as well. So I thought, wow, that's interesting. So I'm going to share why I'm saying that. And as we go through the year, it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds. What I know and what I truly feel in my heart and believe, and I'm sharing what has worked for me, no matter what's going on out there, is tapping into intuition, trusting what feels right to you, no matter what's going on. And believing that you have choices, because there's always a positive and negative to everything. And I just choose to focus more now on positive outlooks. I have found that that gets me through tough, challenging times, because things happen. Things are happening. We live on this earth, but we're going to look at this interesting lineup that is looking like a healing theme for the whole year, and why. And yes, we will start to find that we are finally letting go of some things that were maybe difficult to let go of before. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go through some of that information. And this is also to help you not just heal, but how to live a meaningful life. Everybody wants to live a life that has meaning to it, a fulfilled life. It's not just about being, oh, I want to have a happy life. And happiness is a choice that comes from within. And you, believe it or not, happiness is something that you choose to do, no matter what's going on. It's not like, oh, I'll be happy after this and this happens, which is a lot of the approach that people try to do. I've tried to do it too. That just doesn't work. You have to just choose to be happy. And it has nothing to do with anybody else. Nothing to do with anyone else. And so if you have goals, I recently saw a wonderful quote from Albert Einstein. If you have goals, that's where you want to focus. You want to focus on the goal, at not being attached to anything or a person. So if your goal is happiness, it's not attached to anything. And so that's a very simple statement, but it makes a lot of sense to me. So let's see what we have going on. Now also today is our very first episode for season 12. We have, yes, I know, we've been going since 2010, 10. So we're starting today with season 12, brand new season for the new year, and it is the first episode. So welcome to that. If you are brand new to the show, we really want to welcome you. Last year we had incredible growth on Spotify. We are still growing on our YouTube channel. We are streaming live on the YouTube channel. Whenever you are listening on archive, if you want to join us, we are live streaming with a live chat on YouTube on Thursdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. You'd have to check where you are located, but I like that they show you your time zone and when it would come on for you in there, so that makes it easy. So I want to welcome everyone that is joining us in the chat. So they're starting to arrive, so hello to everyone. It's good to see you guys there. So we're going to start. So first of all, I love to write the affirmations every week. That's just something I've enjoyed doing, and I just keep putting one out on the newsletter and put one out for each show to focus an affirmation on what we're talking about. So today's affirmation for this episode is, I choose to heal and live a meaningful life. It's simple, but to the point, and exactly what we want to do, right? Okay, so here we go. So first off, in numerology, 2022 is a number 6 year. Now, what does that mean? So I want to show you some of that with numerology first. This represents healing, peace, finding ways to live a more balanced lifestyle. Okay, so if you are looking at numerology, it's like, that's interesting. So if we're moving into a number 6 year, 6 also relates to clearing. It's clearing and healing. So all this old thing, all the old stuff, all the stuff that's been just difficult to get rid of, this is going to be a year that's really going to help. It's also clearing and healing past life things you may be lingering with, or ancestral wounds. That's the deep wounds that we pass down to each other. It represents breaking free of these karmic cycles. And it can sometimes come through bloodlines. I mean, this is just coming from the numerology perspective. It'll be a lesson for us in 2022 to not get trapped back into those repetitive patterns that limit us. Really hear that. This is what this one is about. There'll be that tendency to go back to that repetitive pattern that you're familiar with, but it's not the way to release and move forward. So that's one of the lessons that we're going to be wanting to pay attention to in 2022. Don't get caught up in those repetitive patterns that keep holding you back. They're really not doing anything but harm, and it's just limiting you. So that's what we want to do. And so I wrote a note on that one for myself because I like that. I was like, that's important, because you might be fine one day and then the next day, ooh, there it is, I'm getting caught into that again. Now we're going to have to work a little extra hard to stay out of those loops, okay? You might find there's a tendency to want to go back into that, escape into it, because it's familiar, even though you're miserable there. But if we're working to move past this, put a little effort in that, you will be happy. This is how we break free for a better, higher state. This is how you'll break free for where you want to be. When we think about these limitations that we put on ourselves, and then we work to release them in little ways each day, if you did that a little bit every day, it'll be a lot easier. So just a little each day. Don't put it off. Don't think, oh, I'm too busy, I can't do that. Make time for that self-care, that self-healing, that self-love. This is the year for that. The universe is bringing energies in to help us with that. This is a healing theme this year, and spiritual awakening. So you want to work with that intuition. Spiritual awakening, more awareness of that side of us. We're not just physical. We're not just the mind. It's mind, body, soul. It's all of it. That's the other parts of you that you want to bring in. So it's a really big deal. It's a big year. So in numerology, it's talking about breaking free and healing from any boxes or restrictions that you've put on yourself. It's also about organizing and laying a good foundation moving forward. So that's the numerology of it. So I'm going to move over now into the astrology side of it. So if we've had the last 2 years have just been no joke, challenging us, bringing a lot of change, a lot of upheaval, just a lot of things that we've just been thrown at us, okay, and we've just been constantly adjusting. Yes, we are still feeling that a little bit. The reason, according to astrology, that was such a year, especially in 2020, was when that Saturn-Pluto conjunction happened. Was one of those very, very strong lineups that causes just everything to get kicked into gear, get it going, make changes. That's what it is, and that happened right in 2020. This year is showing it's going to calm down and get a little bit gentler, okay? We'll still have a little bit of upheaval, yes, I know. And we are going to have to see how this plays out, but I really see this as there's an opportunity to focus on this aspect as we're going through this year. So that's a big deal. That's a big deal right there. Now, it also, this year, just recently, kicked off with Venus in retrograde. We talked about that on the last show a couple weeks ago. That was diving, and we're still feeling that, okay? It's still going on. We're diving deep into our hearts, okay, to clear, to find meaningful relationships and everything that we find of value. That includes romantic relationships. That includes finances. That includes your relationship with others, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with business, with anything, with nature, whatever you relate to, whatever is of value to you. This Venus retrograde is taking us through that. Some of it emotional, but we need to know what it is for healing and clearing and letting it go. Retrogrades are very much a time of reflection, and in 2022, we're going to have plenty of reflection opportunities. Oh yes, there's a couple of those going on. Mercury retrograde, we know what that one is. That's that communication one. That's going to go retrograde 4 times this year. 4 times. We're also down later in the year, in October, we'll experience and have a Mars retrograde. So that one is a little bit different too. Both Mars and Venus retrograde, they create themes that take us to go within, slow down, think about what you're doing before you go. So these are opportunities. Don't look at it as like, oh man, I wanted to get going. I still have more to tell you here because we got Jupiter going on too. This is going to teach us how to proceed after we, are ready to proceed. We're grounded. We're gonna learn how to be wise with our choices moving forward with this. It slows you down so you just don't jump out there before looking both ways. It's kind of like, reminds me of that. Like, don't just jump out to the traffic till you make sure a car isn't coming, right? It slows you down, but you still move forward. That's the good part here. It's the wisdom that's coming in that we need when we're making big life choices. Or in a lot of our cases, we're learning how to deal with where we are right now and what has landed in our laps in the last 2 years. What has changed for us? Where we are right now, we need to accept that and learn how to live with it to the highest potential, because the universe was putting us where we wanted to be, and also where we need to be on our life journey. This is all according to astrology. That's what I'm laying out here. Not saying everything is exactly what it says. It's a good guide. It's a good guide to give you options and choices. It's not necessarily that every little thing is going to happen. I mean, we're not even going to go into that, but Nostradamus had several, predictions for 2022. But I also see in between that, because a lot of things, if revolutionary change and big changes needed to happen for everyone across the globe, things have to get out of the way so you can have something new. So it makes sense. Saturn-Pluto conjunction was starting that upheaval to, okay, this is easy, we need to get this out of the way so we can plant new foundations. So when I look at it that way from the bigger picture, a higher perspective, it makes so much more sense to me. And it doesn't cause me to go into a fear mode where I'm making choices that way, because Fear cannot coexist with love. It's just fear, making choices out of fear are not going to get you anywhere but limit you and put you in that box. Remember what we were talking about a few minutes ago. Watch out for that, going back into that limitation or that restriction. So, but you don't want to feel like that. You want to be fearless. Fearlessness is freedom, really, when you think about it on an energy level. So here we go. Now we also have Jupiter. That's the planet of abundance and expansion, moving through Pisces. And here's where spiritual awakening and some interesting stuff comes in. Because it creates an optimistic, soothing, peaceful, compassionate energy. And Pisces being related to spirituality, now you have healing and spiritual awakening coming in for 2022. That's the part that I'm really smiling about. And I go, oh man, that just feels relieving to just read that that potential is there. Of course, you have a choice whether you want to embrace that or not, but I know that I am, because that's just what makes the most sense to my soul. I feel in alignment with who I am and what I want to achieve while I'm still here. And it makes the most sense. So I'm sharing that. Now Jupiter, it's going to move through Pisces. It'll also align with planet Neptune. Now listen to this part. This is where it gets interesting. That's a very rare dynamic alignment, because you have positive, it's very positive, and it's very good if you are working on a creative project or spirituality. That this is a good alignment for that. So creativity and spirituality, this is a very positive alignment for that. And it's rare. It doesn't happen very often like that. When Jupiter-Neptune energy, though, are connected, that was Pisces-Neptune. That's for the creativity and spirituality. But when Jupiter and Neptune are together, because Jupiter's so positive and so upbeat, and it's like, yeah, let's just go, let's expand, let's do everything. Neptune has a tendency to sometimes bring in the illusions. So that's where you want to make sure you're staying grounded and connected to your intuition. Super important. Why? Because Neptune has a tendency to sometimes, it's like, don't believe everything you hear kind of thing. Watch out for deceptions like that or something like that. So it's more like just keep grounded, really check in with what's making sense to you, your intuition, what feels right to you, and make your choices with that. It doesn't mean you have to be afraid of it. It just means be aware of it. You stay grounded, you stay connected. Just be mindful of that. Because it's just, and then you have it combined with Pisces, and now you have this amazing, expansive, abundant energy for healing and spiritual awakening. You want to just make sure you're trusting the sources that feel right to you. Doesn't matter what anybody else is saying, what feels right to you. You're going to want to go inward and listen to that. Now, collectively, the dynamic of Jupiter and Neptune does cause that veil to where we may not be seeing the truth the way it is. So there'll be a few times in 2022 where it'll lift and we'll see what's really going on. You want to pay attention. Just listen to your intuition on that. The other thing that's interesting in 2022 is something that's called the lunar nodes. Lunar nodes are considered the points of destiny in astrology. So in 2022, these lunar nodes are going to change cycles. They're going to shift into Taurus and Scorpio this month in January. And so it also will be the zodiacs that we will have during the eclipses of the year. So Taurus and Scorpio, that's interesting. So we want to pay attention to that. When you move through eclipses in Taurus or Scorpio, that's a whole new energy to work with for us. Yeah, it stirs you. The Taurus will stir you to slow down, savor, savor the good stuff, just slow down and get a solid foundation. Where Scorpio, it wants to stir up and change it and revolutionize it and reinvent the wheel kind of a thing, just so something new can come of it. So you have both of those dynamics tugging there. So I found that interesting. But all in all, when you look at this energy, it's very aligned with healing, waking up to the truths, paying attention, learning discernment, making sure you're not being too gullible or believing in something that isn't true, or it's, things like that. But being grounded, really taking the spiritual side of you very seriously, will carry you far. Now, if you have any self-limiting beliefs or attitudes about any of this, this is the year to find that independence and freedom. This is the year to find, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. You're going to find these wake-up calls periodically throughout the year, and that's what you want to pay attention to and look for. Now, here's one that's really interesting that nobody alive today, I don't think anybody's lived this long, has ever experienced. According to astrology, in 2022, the USA, is going to experience its first Pluto return. I know. What is that? They happen every 247 years, because that one really takes a long time to come around. So no, nobody's ever experienced it, and you won't see another one. This is it. But this is pivotal. This is a pivotal one in the country's history. So we're going to see different things taking place here with Pluto coming through. Pluto returns carry the theme of rebirthing, revolutionizing, changing, shifting, out with the old and in with the new. So yeah, we're going to see some of that still, but we're healing. We're healing. We want to grab on to the healing part of that. So you are going to see some things unfolding. And it's interesting, and that's going with July 4, 1776 as the birth date, because that's how they'll do it in astrology. What was the birth date of the country? So yeah, they do all that, going into different countries and things like that. But that was a very interesting tidbit, because we've just never seen that before. So it'll be interesting to see what happens throughout the year with that. Manifesting. Yes, manifesting, bringing acceptance and ease into our manifesting. We've been working with that for a couple of years now. Yes, we continue to work with that. We absolutely do, because once you're healing and you're grounding and you're reconnecting with your spirits and you're waking those things up to where you're tuned in more, manifesting comes so much easier, especially now that we have Jupiter helping with that, right? So they all go together. If you were trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, really connecting and letting that part of you be part of your decisions and choices. Because remember, Venus retrogrades all the heart-centered choices and things that are of value to us. Manifesting those things that are of value to us, like maybe we're trying to get our finances in order. Maybe we're trying to really grow a project. All of this ties it together, and these are the components that can make things really move forward. Manifesting will become much easier as you grow into that. So let's take a little look here at what's happening right now, because we are in January. Now, we also said that Venus was in retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Now, this is the time to work with the relationships. Right now, what we're in right now for this month is working on those relationships we have with others, with love, with finance, romantic, with yourself, everything that you have a relationship with. What is of value to you? Now, on January 8th, which is coming up in a couple of days, Venus aligns with the Sun, and that's that rebirthing and coming back up. And we talked about that last couple of weeks ago. So if you want to listen to all about the Venus retrograde, that was in the show 2 weeks ago. So I really did the January one 2 weeks ago, but that was to give you that, because that's really what's happening for January. Venus will leave this retrograde on January 29. Okay? We'll stay in Capricorn until March. So You can look at that in the show from 2 weeks ago. Also, the lunar nodes are changing in January, okay? Those lunar nodes I told you that were in Gemini and Sagittarius, they will shift to Taurus and Scorpio on January 19th. Remember, that's about destiny. So if this is going to shift a collective destiny, that's collective, that's for all of us, this ought to be interesting to see what pops up. We're all going to be discovering some new things about where we're going, what we want, what we don't want anymore. Maybe we've changed our mind about some things. Maybe it's just time to do a lot of sorting out with that. The North Node represents, so here's the two nodes, and this is what they mean. The North Node represents where we're heading. The South Node represents where we've been. That's just how they work and what they mean in astrology. The North Node is going to be in Taurus. And that focus needs to shift to how are we doing with sustainability? How are we healing ourselves and the planet? This is the collective, you see. And how are we creating a solid foundation for future generations? That's a focus with that. February, that's right around the corner. That's the Pluto return for the U.S. Okay, that I was just telling you about. That happens in February. This is the long running. We've already been experiencing it and feeling it a little bit, but in February, it could heighten a little bit as for the U.S., for the country to move into peak moments. And like I said, this is just what is unveiling in astrology. I'm not trying to say, oh, this will happen. This is what I'm discovering is being written about it. And this has been there for years. They've done it with other countries. You know, this is just the first time the U.S. will go through it. So we shall see how this will rebirth us. And out with the old, in with the new. We will see how this works. April is when Jupiter conjuncts Neptune. That's when Jupiter is going to be connecting with Neptune in the Pisces sign. Remember, I was talking about that a few minutes ago. When they come together, when Jupiter and Neptune come together in the sign of Pisces, that sends very harmonious waves through to us. Very healing, very healing. This is a good energy for the creative projects. That's April. Spiritual awakening, we will feel that then. Highly sensitive time though. Your intuition is going to be very heightened. You will feel all these higher realms. You'll feel like, whoa. You're just going to feel that there's a whole lot more going on than just a physical world. You'll feel that. You'll feel the intuition. You'll feel psychic abilities. Dreams, I don't know if anybody else has been doing this, but the dreams have been extremely interesting recently. A lot of dreaming, and other people that I've spoken to, dreaming a lot, and they're just different. I go, okay, let's go. Let's just see how interesting this can be. And I've had them too. Every night, every single night, they've been just, where is this coming from? And sometimes they've all been entertaining, not scary. But I'm thinking, wow, that was the weirdest thing ever. You might even notice that you're dreaming because of retrograde times. You might be seeing how this is the really interesting stuff. If you're having dreams where your past, like all the way down back to childhood even sometimes, it seems to be mixed into your current present. Like you're who you are now and live where you are now, but you're experiencing something from the past. That a lot of times in dreams is showing you that something from the past is relating to where you are in your present, or how can they work together, and it's not a negative at all. It's more just showing you how it's connected, how it's relating to one another. Sometimes it's showing you something that maybe needs to change. So look for those moments that are very positive and embrace those, but also don't forget, we're looking to see where we're healing and letting go of something. Okay, in May, October, and December, I know, Jupiter moves into Aries. So here you got Aries, which is a very proactive go, go, go sign. Jupiter moving into a fiery sign like Aries for a very short stay. very short. But that indicates, let's go, let's do this. Let's get it happening. Let's make it work. I mean, it's, you know, you're ready. You're just going to go. You're going to expand even further, but you have all that energy of Aries behind it. October to January of 2023, that's the Mars retrograde. I'm almost done here, and then I'm going to see how everybody's doing if we have any questions. So October to January of 2023, that's on Mars retrograde. Mars retrogrades are different, you know. That's how we're going to close the year out. Mars retrograde, that's when we're called to balance our energy levels, because when it's forward, you know, you're going, you're moving, you're doing a million things. You also need to find that balance. You need to think about, where does your motivation come from? What does inspire you to do what you do all the time and to go, go, go? But we have to find ways to balance that, because if we want that meaningful lifestyle, we want to heal this year, and we want to find that meaningful lifestyle, we want to pay attention to how Mars retrograde is going to help show us how we can do that. We need to find the balance. So sometimes when it's a Mars retrograde, you can just feel really tired and not motivated as much because it's going backwards. That's Mars is very much about being active and proactive, but it gives you that reflection on, okay, how could I balance this so I'm a little bit more stabilized and can keep things at a steady pace versus, whoa, exhaust yourself to the brink of just absolutely collapsing, and then you're tired for months. So this is something to look at. It's where you'll have a chance to look how you can rework or reconsider some of your choices. The Mercury retrogrades, we have 4 of them. Let me tell you about those. We have 4. The first one is January 14th to February 3rd, so it's coming up next week. The second one is May 10th to June 3rd, September 9th to October 2nd, and December 29th to January 18th of next year. So those are the 4 retrogrades in Mercury. Mercury, remember, is communications. Things can get miscommunicated sometimes. We're looking on, can we find better ways to communicate? So in our eclipse dates, I'm going to give you those, and then I'm going to go over to the chat. The eclipse dates, we have 4 eclipses this year, and we have 2 blood moons. Blood moon eclipses. Blood moons are extra potent according to astrology, and they signify a need to cut ties with things that do not serve you any longer for your higher interests, to serve you better. So all eclipses are considered turning points, but there's 2 blood moon eclipses, so they're a little bit more like, it's time to be done with that, let it go. That's how that is. But this year, all things considered, all eclipses are turning points. And this year we can really make some leaps. We can really make some progress on our healing. We can really make some progress on our awareness, our spiritual awakening. Our intuition will strengthen if you choose to work with that. There's a lot of positives here with all the shift and change that's going on. Change has to change. I mean, nothing stays the same, but we want it to change for the better, for the benefit of the better. Okay, here's the dates for eclipses. April 30, that's a new moon solar. May 15, that's a blood moon eclipse in May. October 25, that's a new moon solar. And then we also have one on November 7, that is the blood moon eclipse. So we have, those are the 2, or the 4 that we have, 2 of them being blood moon. That's a good overview of where this energy is coming from and why the theme is healing. So let's go see how everybody's doing. Hi guys, it's good to see you guys. Missed everybody. So let's see what we have here. We have good morning. Oh, thank you. Congrats on the, I'm getting a congrats from Miss Hasha, Miss Hasha 757. That's good. Thank you for that. Congratulations on our new season. Yes, we are season 12. Can you believe we've been doing this long? I love it. I'm not tired of it. I love you guys. Megan, Happy New Year. Good to see you, Megan. It does feel like it will be very positive. Let's see, we have Journey to Becoming Me. Just made it. Missed you all too. Okay, everybody's just saying hello. We have a great group that shows up. Dreaming, lots of information. Lisa is having some interesting dreams. These dreams are no joke. Hello, Michelle. The dreams are, actually, they've been quite entertaining. I mean, they're so creative. It's like, these are just amazing. You know, if these were books or novels or something, it's like sometimes you're like, wow, I should write all this down. We have Maddie. Good morning to Maddie. Let's see. Lisa, Dr. Jenn, do you have a calendar with all these astrological movements on it? Ooh, that's a great idea. I have the manifesting calendar, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to make myself a note right now because that is a fantastic idea. I'm going to put these dates in that calendar, and so they're already on the calendar. And then everything is there on the 2022 calendar that I have, but let me get that out. So what I'm suggesting is let me put that out, and then I will send out an email that I've updated all of that. So, but even if you already have the calendar, you'll be able to go back and re-download it. So you can go ahead and get the calendar, and then as soon as the dates are up, I'll let everybody know, and then you'll have all of it. But I'm going to do that like ASAP, because that's a great idea. Thank you for that. That's the best one that I can put it on, and then it'll all be in there. Let's see, Journey to Becoming Me. Lots of very odd dreams. 4-year-old has been having lots of dreams. She keeps asking me, is it real or is this real when she wakes up? Oh, that's great. Yeah, some of them feel super crazy real, right? Think about this. If spiritual awakening is going to be a theme for the year, and it's already starting to do this, and we're healing, dreams are probably going to be pretty active, because for some of us, that's the easiest way for us to work with our subconscious. That's the subconscious, the dreams. You're not trying to control it in your conscious. You're not trying to make it go a certain way. They're just going. And keep a journal if you can. Absolutely keep a journal. Let's see. Miss Hasha, dreams have been so weird. Some include what I perceive as my ex-husband. Shadana. Oh, that's great. That's great. You know, it's like, what are the themes and the personalities? Because sometimes it'll just pull somebody out of left field from your past, and you're like, what? Look at what the personality or the common denominator is, and that's a good one. That's a good example. Journey to Becoming Me. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, real or not as well. Let's see. Oh, you're talking about the dreams. It has been a heavy year. I've had 2 or more people die since we last talked. Maybe my 4-year-old is just feeling that, not sure. Well, children absolutely process, and they feel the energies. And I mean, we're kind of like their example on how to live, right? But they have to understand those things too. And sometimes it's hard, but that's okay. Dreams keep us from going crazy. So dreams are good. Healthy dreaming. It's good for you. It's helping us process all this energy that we've been through. And especially if you've been through a lot of abrupt changes, unexpected loss like you're referring to, things like that. We all are going to be processing that kind of thing. So maybe so. It has been a lot going on for a lot of us. Michelle's dreaming as well. Seen my grandma, kissed her on the cheek. She said she'd been waiting for that a long time. Oh, and you know, some of the dreams, when it's someone very close to you, are actually visits from them. Sometimes when you see someone that you've lost and they're in the dream, sometimes they're coming to visit. And it can be crazy stuff in there too. But I always smile when I see someone that I love that's not here anymore with us on Earth, because I'm like, hey, that was a cool visit. That was interesting. And usually you'll see that personality or something like that. But sometimes they're visits. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, Journey to Becoming Me. However, my dreams, other than one awful nightmare, have all been very amusing. Yeah, nightmares are no joke. And at the same time, they're very healthy to have. And remember, when you have the nightmare, remind yourself, it's not literal, it's metaphoric. So, like, Like, for example, like, nightmares. I mean, man, I'm telling you, I grew up with all that kind of stuff going on because I was so connected and saw a lot when I was very young, but I was having a lot of, I would have the nightmares. And once you understand it's just processing some really heavy energy or a lot of excess energy. And I mean, a dream is going to process things that we haven't processed in our wake. And sometimes it's trying to tell us something we need to know in our conscious state. But the nightmares actually being metaphoric. So for example, when I've had a lot of emotional turmoil from loss or something tragic or something that I've had in the past, I would have a lot of dreams about water, because water is a very emotional, connected water sign. And so my psyche, I guess, just takes out and uses water. So for example, if I see very calm, beautiful, peaceful water, I know everything's all good. Sometimes I was seeing storms, a boat flipping over, I'm underwater. That's overwhelmed from my emotions. So I'm just giving an example of how a nightmare can just like, oh my goodness, but look for the metaphor. Look for the metaphor of what it's resembling or what it could represent in real life, in your conscious state. If you had a very chaotic, stressful week at work, you might have dreams of frustration, like nothing's working out or everything's all like crazy and chaotic, things like that. Sometimes we feel stress of things that we have fear going on, so we might be getting chased by the scary monster things, and all that. So these are things that I'm suggesting. I'm just giving you examples of things to look for in the dreams, because nightmares have good information in them that are very helpful. And so I'm showing you an approach that could really help when they happen, because kids have them a lot because we don't understand everything yet. But we adults can have them too. Oh yes. Let's see what else we have. Maddie, definitely odd dreams. I've also been feeling so ADD. So struggling with that focus. Okay. The only things I seem to be able to focus on are my actual interests. I just want to be building my own business. Okay. Yep. I think you're on the right track. Actually, just focus on what you are interested in, because sometimes when we feel that focus is foggy, there's something that's like I was talking about earlier, because this is a year of healing and revealing, this is what we need to get out of the way. Sometimes we're trying to force our focus on something we don't really want to do. I'm not saying you don't want to do your business. It might be that there's just going to be some tweaking to do, and this focus that can happen can sometimes just come and go. So sometimes we just have to take with a grain of salt, like the timing. It's like, okay, the other theme for the year was life balance. So if we're pushing when we need to be balancing or letting up or lightening up, it might be trying to show you that. So it's going with the flow on that. I know it sounds like, but that's not, yeah, I get it. It's not like I wrote this. It's just that that's the best way to move through it, is not fight it, ride with it. Like, all right, if I can't focus, maybe I need to rest and expend some of this energy that's overloaded in the mind. And that's probably, with knowing you the way I've known you, that's probably part of it. You just have so much going on in there. It just needs a break. So take it and just know it's temporary. It's not forever. Let me see here. Lisa, about calendar. Yeah. Okay. No problem. Definitely. Great idea on the calendars. So if you've already got the calendar, remember, you can re-download it, because I'm going to update it and then I'm going to let everybody know that I've done that. Let's see here. Lisa, this week, my dreams have popped into my head during my day like a reminder. When you're remembering them all day long, jot something down somewhere. Those are big deal. Those are significant messages that help you. So write them down. They may not make sense. Sometimes I've had to have 3 or 4 nights in a row of dreams, and I just kind of go, all right, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. I'm like, Then it starts to unfold like, okay, I see the common denominator. I see what you're trying to tell me. Another thing that I've done when a dream just doesn't make any sense is I've asked for another message. Like, I've asked the angels, I've asked the universe, okay, I know you're trying to tell me something. This feels significant because I guess can't forget about it. But could you send me in a different way so I can find some clarity? It's kind of like another puzzle piece. And you can do that as many times as you need. And believe it or not, you will get something different. It'll be the same theme, but come at a different angle. And then you'll look and you'll go, that's it. Okay, I got it. And so sometimes it takes a little longer. Let me see what else we have here. Journey to Becoming Me. Thank you so much for your guidance on the nightmares. That helps tremendously. It sticks with me for days. Yes, they're significant, but you've had a lot of processing to do. A lot of processing. And thank you so much for your gift and your appreciation and much gratitude. Super chat from Journey to Becoming Me. She has supported the show several times in here, and it is so appreciated. It really is. It means a lot. It helps us to keep going and pay the bills that bring the show to you. So I appreciate that very much, because you know, guys, I love being here with you. Let's see. Miss Hasha. So obviously Shadana. Okay, my dreams feel like time traveling. I love time traveling movies. Those are so fun. But yes, they are like that. A lot of them are when you're current and then you go way back in time. Or sometimes you go way in the future, but you go way back in time or something, but you're who you are now. I know. And I like lucid dreaming. I'm always aware that I'm in a dream, and then I know it's like, all right, you know, that's something that some people can do, and some people, you can kind of practice with that, have that intention, like, I want to know I'm in the dream, and then you can work through the dream. It's not like trying to control it crazy, but also it's very healing when you can be in there and you know you're dreaming, but you're still allowing this craziness to unfold. And then I'll be waking myself up by hollering in the dream. I'm like screaming, and then all of a sudden I'll hear it and it wakes me back up. I mean, I'll pull myself out. And it just depends on what I'm dreaming. So those are things that are interesting. Lucid dreaming is interesting. You know you're dreaming. Or you dream in color. You're dreaming in color as well. I dream that way. I like dreams. I used to be scared of them as a little kid because a lot of them were really scary because I didn't understand it. And as I've grown and learned, I actually enjoy them now because they're, even the intense ones, because it's like, oh wow, that was good information. And now I can close my eyes after meditations and allow them, kind of like daydreaming. When you're daydreaming, I don't like how daydreaming used to be criticizing. It used to be that I was criticized, stop daydreaming, stop daydreaming. No, I encourage daydreaming because that's part of manifesting. If you can sit there and just close your eyes and be in that space that you really want, that takes you there, that's good. You want that for manifesting. Maddie, with respect to focus, I meant that I'm most interested in building my business, but I'm having to do other work to supplement. Okay. But definitely so many thoughts flooding through right now. I gotcha. Interesting. Well, that sounds like the mind is just needing a break because there's so many different directions, but there is some sorting out on, and we do have shifts happening. I mean, we are still having a lot of change going on. So even if I had a plan to do something, in 3 days it ends up changing. I've had to take one day at a time going, this is what I plan to do, and then I have to go with how it unfolds. Working with that a little bit more, like, yes, you're supplementing and it totally makes sense while you're working on the other. And if you're interested in building that out, make sure that you're doing something that gives the mind a break from constantly trying to sort something out or figure it out. It really sounds like it's just tired and it's trying to tell you, hey, I need a break. But yes, it's not going to be that way forever. I really don't think so. But yeah, it's a lot to do. I understand that. You are welcome, Lisa. Lisa, my toddler is up and needing me. Have a great day. Okay. Lisa, I hope you have a wonderful day too. Now, for anyone that had the calendar already, just watch your emails. I'll send out a separate one once I get the dates in. I'm going to put all these dates on the calendar throughout it, so you can go get it. And it's the 2022 manifesting calendar on my website that I'm talking about. So I'm going to go add all these dates we talked about, so you know these dates are there. You have it. I'll also, I'm going to go through and put them all in there. So why not? So you have this whole chart. That makes so much sense. It's a manifesting calendar that has space for you to write in what your goals are for the month. That was my intention when I made it, because I really enjoy having something that you can journal or write in. And it's got a small section. So say it's January, and you want your goal to manifest this month is you know, something, not a job goal, more like what are you trying to work or shift in your life. So let's just use Maddie's for example. She's trying to get her focus back. So your intention is to find your focus. And then it's like, let the universe show you by rest or redirection or mind clarity, something that will help clear out the energy so it's not so scattered, and finding something to help you focus. Sometimes using music that, for me, sometimes I need music that doesn't have any words. If I put something like that on, I can focus and get all kinds of stuff done. That's just an example. You can do things like that. Sometimes you just need to, like if I'm listening to words, I can't do my creative work at all. So I use music that doesn't have words, like whatever would work for you, something like that. That might help. Just kind of tuning things out and having something that can help you focus. Other than that, let me see, where else are we? Anybody else? Let's see, Journey to Become. Maddie, what are you doing for you? To do some pampering. That's exactly right, which is what we're talking about. Because, Maddie, I know you work hard, and it's probably, I get the impression you're the type of person that you just work all the time. Your mind is always trying to figure that out, and it feels weird to not do anything on it. That might be where you're trying to find your life balance. And this year could possibly, very much so, bring some revelation for you in that. It's going to do it for all of us. We're going to find so many different ways to heal this year. I mean, we're all having individual things that we're healing from. But then at the same time, we have these perspectives that are going to pop up. We have change is still evolving. We've been going through that. Yeah, like the last couple of years have been crazy. Well, that's not going to stop. It's still reinventing the wheel is what it feels like, right? We're going to be watching a lot of things unfold for all of us, and at the same time, we're going to have our unexpecteds and how we handle that. We're also going to get allowing ourselves a break if it doesn't come out perfectly. So that relationship with yourself is a big one right now. That might be addressed here as well for people that are just feeling that focus and that deprogramming. And retrogrades can bring the fog and the lethargicness in too sometimes. So it's all in an approach to help show us and teach us how to balance life. We want a meaningful life. We want to do what matters. You may have to make some decisions this year that you were never thinking you would do. Good ones, maybe ones that are really hard. Maybe trying something brand new that you're like, I never thought I would do that. Or letting go of something that you never thought you would let go of. It could just, it runs the gamut. It's this big open, like, we're going to watch and see how this unfolds, but we're also part of the experience. We're proactive in it. This is a healing theme year. Remember, this is a healing theme year, a spiritual awakening theme. Connecting with intuition can sometimes when we're waking up spiritually, sometimes it can feel like we don't come back down and we don't ground enough. I want to remind everybody of that. When you have a lot of spiritual awakening energy, sometimes you can feel like your head's in the clouds all the time, and then you're not bringing it down. Whenever you're struggling with the head fog or that head in the cloud kind of thing, or you just feel like, wow, I really like it up here, watch out for the escapism. You do have to come back down and ground. That brings you into your present, and that's where you can do some focus, is bringing that grounding back in. Grounding is super important. And grounding is just stomping your feet on the ground and feeling yourself in your body, honestly. You can do it within a matter of seconds. Doesn't matter if you're in a public place or where you are. Everybody walks. You just consciously are connecting with that. It brings you right back in. That helps a lot when we got that foggy mindset going on or too many things going on in there. Remember also, Archangel Chamuel can help a lot when we need to go one step at a time because there's too many things going on in our minds. I mean, that's an easy thing to get going when so much is happening and we're not sure what's going to change or when. One step at a time can bring your focus to that point. You ground into that. And then it's a lot easier. It's a lot less overwhelming. You don't feel like you're trying to do a million things all at the same time and they all come out like they're supposed to. It's more efficient sometimes when things feel like that. So that's the advice that I have for you guys. It's something that I want to do for all of you, is give you what you need, be an encouragement. We're here. We're in season 12. And I want to wish everyone a beautiful, happy new year. We have a lot to look forward to. A healing year. I like the sound of that. Believe it or not, it's going to soften and calm down. And at the same time, maybe a little bit it might, So just note that it is bringing a different shift in this year. But we also want to learn and grow. And we want to find that balance that we're looking for to lead a meaningful life. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I will get that calendar updated, and I will see you next time on the Jenn Royster Show. Namaste.
You've been listening to the Jenn Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life. Dr. Jenn Royster is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Imagine having the ability to use your innate positive energy to dissolve the stuckness in your life, whether it's emotional, physical, or spiritual, through this incredible dynamic show. If you've missed any part of this show or any other show, visit www.jennroyster.com.